Good morning. It's time for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Dick. And, we got the winter sports season well into gear here as we at the start of the girls' basketball Clarabelle Conference season on Tuesday night.
And Warrior girls going up to Greenwood, looking very good, too.
Yeah.
They Greenwood came in 3-0. I think the 3-0 is a little, their opposition wasn't quite up to what Nielsville had been playing in the non-conference, but still, all in all, Warriors looked very good. Their defense all over the floor forced numerous turnovers and really turned into a lot of points. So.
73-26 was the final. Paris Opelt had 19. Maddie Dable had a slow start, but ended up with 17.
Yeah, she kept taking her shots, and they finally started dropping. So.
Yeah, she did not waste any shots, I don't think, too much on Tuesday. Nielsville ranked number 9 this week in Division 4 in the WISports.net coaches poll. And now they take on Columbus Catholic on Friday.
Yeah, tomorrow night at the Fieldhouse. So, and that'll be interesting because Columbus comes in with a new coach, Eric Wilson. Of course, we've talked about it already. He comes from the Joe Konitsky tree. So, see what changes he's made in that program over there. So
yeah, Columbus Catholic beat Spencer 56-21 on Tuesday night. Other games in the East had Owen Withee beating Gilman 72-40, and Loyal over Colby 54-37. Loyal had 4 players in double figures in that game.
Loyal is playing very good basketball. They went over to Marathon and beat them in opening and they're young, but they're experienced because a lot of these girls played as freshmen and sophomores.
Right.
So, and of course you got an excellent coach over there in Mike Reith also. So.
Yeah. So that's the Eastern Clarabelle first games on Tuesday. In the West, Bloomer beat Cadott 54-41. McDonald Central over Regis 77-50. Osseo Fairchild beat Stanley Boyd 57-33. So those are the Western Clarabelle, and Nielsville will have Fall Creek at Nielsville on Monday.
Yeah, another good measuring stick there, and especially, well, of course, it doesn't matter quite so much now because Nielsville's going a different way in the tournament.
Yeah, right.
But, it's always the last 2 years in the tournament, Larry, they've matched up, and they've been pretty good competitive games.
Yeah.
And, Nielsville came out in both of them, but Fall Creek always has had a good program over there. So,
the other rankings for the girls in Division 1, Neenah is ranked number 1 in Division 1. Pewaukee is number 1 in Division 2. Waupun is number 1 in Division 3. Laconia, boy, they're just reloading down there.
Yeah, they're just in a heck of a cycle down there. And according to Coach Geyer, they continue to start young players.
Yeah, and they were young when Nielsville played them.
Yeah, they just keep revolving. So
they are 6-0. They are number 1 in Division 4. McDonald Central is number 2, and we mentioned Nielsville ranked 9th. And then in Division 5, Assumption is ranked number 1, and Athens, surprisingly enough, at a 3-3 record, is ranked 8th. In fact, they moved up 2 spots this week.
I said I haven't seen who they were playing, but I was kind of surprised to see them in there with a 3-3 record. Usually 3 losses this time of year. Katie barred the door.
Right, yeah. By the way, Assumption and Nielsville are going to be playing in January.
Yes, they are. Yep.
Over in Assumption.
Speaking of measuring sticks, there.
Another one. All right, so that's girls basketball. The boys will get their conference season underway tonight when Nielsville travels to Greenwood to take on the Indians. And Nielsville, we've done the 4 games that they've had so far this year, and still looking for offense.
Looking for offense.
A little better the other night.
I thought, Larry, at Marathon the other night, their ball movement was much better. They were actually setting picks in a man-to-man offense. Got good shots. They just were not dropping. They were cold as ice. Yeah. And they have struggled all season from three-point land, but especially on the road. But I thought they had a lot of nice attempts inside in the paint and stuff, just could not get them to drop. And I think a lot of that was Grant Warren.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
The presence of Grant Warren in there. And I said, I would have liked to found out how many blocks he had in that game if he was close to a triple-double because, he had it in points and rebounds. So,
in case for those of you that don't know, Grant Warren from Marathon, a 6'10 senior inside.
Yeah, and he is a Division II signee at Northern Michigan, so he's a heck of a ball player.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
And outside shot, too.
Yeah, he can do it all.
Yep. So.
All right, other games going on tonight in the start of the Clarabelle Conference for the boys. Colby is at Loyal tonight. Owen Withee is at Gilman, and Spencer is at Columbus Catholic in boys basketball.
And Columbus had a nice win Monday night against Auburndale too. So so they're out, going to be tough, and they're coming into Neillsville Tuesday night. So
I understand Emmett Konechny was in attendance.
Okay.
At the game.
I had heard he had gotten released. Okay, but they found the source of the bleeding over the weekend. It was in his intestine, and the prognosis is really good now.
Yeah.
So.
In case those of you don't know that story, Emmett Konechny and his mom got into an automobile accident in the eastern part of the state, and we were hoping for the best, and we got it.
Absolutely.
The news wasn't good at first. But.
No, yeah, you thought the worst, and when you talk about your mom being in one hospital and your son being in another, and all you can do is hope and pray, and hopefully everybody's were answered, and it was just wonderful he could go to the game and support his teammates, and I'm sure that made them feel a lot better too. So.
All right, that's boys basketball. Again, they start the Clarabelle Conference season tonight. And taking a look at the boys' standings, or the poll, the WisSports.net coaches poll, De Pere is number 1 in Division 1. Pewaukee in Division 2. St. Thomas More is the top team in Division 3. Darlington, how about that?
Okay, yeah.
Had a good football season. Now they're on top.
Coming back in basketball.
Yeah, Marathon, we mentioned that on Monday. They're ranked 2nd in the state in Division 4. And then you go down to Division 5, and Solon Springs ranked number 1.
That's way up north.
Yeah, you're getting up there. Columbus Catholic is ranked 2nd in the state.
Yeah.
Another football school, Reedsville, is ranked 7th in Division 5.
Yeah, you don't think of Reedsville as basketball. Reedsville, I've always thought as a football wrestling school, and now they're coming around basketball too. So.
Yeah, well, some of them, you have those years, where everything seems to click.
Yeah, and you get those classes of athletes,
right?
Back to back. You maybe have back-to-back classes, and that's when things go really good. So
you bet. As far as boys and girls hockey, the Black River Falls Co-op teams. Black River Falls Co-op beat Wisconsin Valley Union, and that's the Marshfield team.
Yep.
Earlier this week, and Sydney Magnuson had
45 saves.
Yeah,
3-1 victory for them. 45 saves for Sydney Magnuson, and I believe she's almost over 93% on the season for saves.
Yeah, she's getting a lot of saves.
Yep, so
helping them out down there.
And they host the CFM Sabres tonight at the Milton Arena, and then Saturday they are at the Cap City Cougars, and Cap City plays out of Sparta.
Okay, all right. And the boys team, they are going to be hosting, they're at Wisconsin Rapids
tonight. And then Friday, they're at WSFLG, which is at Siren. Oh, that's a trip, too.
Yeah.
And then, they're making a weekend of it because they're going to Ashland on Saturday.
Okay, all right.
So they're making a weekend of it. So.
Yeah, you can do some traveling in hockey.
Yes, you could.
Do a little traveling in hockey. One volleyball note. Did you hear
Marshfield
Coach?
Coach Sadowska over at Marshfield, and 32 years, I believe, she's been there, Larry. But, and we talk a lot on this show about guys like Jerry Sins and Bob Hyland, and of course Jerry Pettigrew. And you see the total wins this Coach Sadowska has? It's over 800 wins.
847 wins.
Wow! I said, I haven't had time to look that up, but see where she ranks in the state. But that is tremendous. And
that is.
Yeah, I believe 13 or 14 conference championships.
13.
Yep. Several trips to the Division I state tournament. So wow. Yeah. She just had a heck of a program over there. So.
Dawn Sadowska retiring as head coach for Marshfield girls volleyball. Speaking of volleyball, how about the Wisconsin volleyball team?
Yeah.
They are in action tonight at the field house, as they are in the Sweet 16
regional.
They are taking on a nemesis of theirs, Penn State.
Yeah, I said that's a tough regional. You got 3 teams from the Big Ten in it.
Yeah.
I said they have Penn State tonight, and you have the possibility of playing Purdue in the championship game. So, and of course Purdue plays Oregon. So, but it's going to be a tough regional. They had pretty much had their way in the early 2 rounds, but this, of course, your Sweet 16. I guess it should be tough. I guess. So,
well, I guess if there's any solace in it, they play at the Fieldhouse.
Yes, I believe that match tonight is on ESPN 2. I believe
ESPN 2. Yep. Starts at 6.
So that's kind of neat. So,
yeah.
So
Penn State, of course, one of the teams that the Badgers lost to.
Yep.
Along with Nebraska.
Yep. So they might be, and they got a lot of revenge on Nebraska, and maybe Penn State will be next. So
hopefully, that'd be nice.
Got to talk wrestling a little bit, Larry.
Oh yes, you bet.
The Neillsville NGL wrestlers were down at Black River this previous Saturday. They finished 9th out of 22 teams and had some nice placings. Rich Tibbett, who was not out last year but came back out this year, 113 pounds, placed third. So good for him. And
That'll be a key weight for them, I think, this year.
Yeah, that's a weight that they were forfeited last year. So and they also Chase Littner, who's a young freshman from Loyal, he is wrestling 106 for him, which is they have not really had a 106 since Luke Dukes was a 106.
Yeah, and that was how many years ago?
Luke's freshman year.
Yeah.
So and Chase finished 5th down at Black River. And then Dane Luchterhahn, who's the lone senior wrestling right now, I believe, he finished 3rd at 175. Jake Luchterhahn, his brother, finished 6th at 165. And then Jackson Meyer, and Jackson is a freshman, but he's done a lot of wrestling.
I've heard his name a lot over the years.
4th at heavyweight as a freshman. That is tremendous.
Yeah.
I said, to that weight, you talk about 215 and 285, that is almost a lot of weights that freshmen do not really succeed at. And, Jackson is off to a pretty good start there. So, anyway, tonight, the Warriors host a very tough Medford team at the Fieldhouse. That will be, you want to see some good wrestlers, Medford will bring in a pretty good team. They're a possible state qualifier this year. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. And then Saturday, speaking of tough, they would go to the Eau Claire North Husky Invite. And this is a 40-plus team tournament and quite a few big schools. You see Minneapolis Simley comes down, Heartland Arrowhead, Kaukauna.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then plus, the area like Ellsworth and teams like that. Stratford is there. Just a tremendous tournament. And if you do well there, you're going to be set up for a pretty good season. But the thing is, too, they also run a JV tournament there, too. So your kids get lots and lots of matches.
Do they divide that in divisions? Or
No.
They don't?
No, it's just one straight deal. So, and I just wondered maybe, like Northern Badger does that, divides them into points. But no, this is just one big deal. And, many teams aren't going to compete with Simley or Arrowhead or teams like that. But, you come out of there, like last year, Jackson Orman from Stratford was a champion, Gunnar Hoffman from NGO was a champion. When you're a champion of that tournament, you've worked hard and won something. So,
that's a good, talk about a barometer.
Yeah, that's a resume builder there. So
you can see where you got to be by the end of the year.
Yeah, you're standing in the championship picture with guys from Kaukauna and Arrowhead and Simley. So
wow. Okay. By the way, that Black River Falls tournament, you say Neilsville Greenwood Loyal finished 9th, but that was a 21-team tournament.
22 teams, you bet. Yep.
Finishing there is
pretty good start for those kids, and it's a very young roster.
Right.
A lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores. You got like I said, one senior, but a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores, few juniors. So Coach Bryant and his staff's really got something nice to build on here. So.
All right. So NGL wrestling getting going. All right. Before we get too far here, we got a little guest here we're going to get to a little bit. Not right now.
Okay.
I'm going to get to your there. Where are they now?
Okay.
Because this kind of goes into the where are they now as well.
Okay, sounds good. So
where are they now?
Okay, I'm going up to Cadott, Larry, and talk about John Pederlich. And John is a 2000 graduate of Cadott High School. John was a 3-year letter winner on the Cadott football team. His sophomore year, the Hornets were 3-6. John started at linebacker on defense and had 42 tackles, 1 pass interception, and a fumble recovery. His junior year, the Hornets were 6-3, qualifying for the WIA Division V playoffs, where they lost in Level 2 to Glenwood City. John carried the ball that year 124 times for 835 yards and 8 touchdowns, and caught 17 passes for 285 yards and 2 touchdowns. On defense, he led the Hornets with 104 tackles and 3 pass interceptions. He was first team large Clover Belt All-Conference on defense and honorable mention on offense. His senior year, the Hornets were 14-0, winning the large Clover Belt and qualifying for the WIA Division IV playoffs, where they would make it all the way to the championship game, where they would defeat Lancaster 34-21 to win the title. In that game, John carried the ball 14 times for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns, and also caught an 82-yard touchdown pass, and also had a pass interception. On the season, John carried the ball 164 times for 1,644 yards and 28 touchdowns, and he also caught 28 passes for 507 yards and 7 touchdowns. On defense, he had 85 tackles and 5 pass interceptions. He was first team All-Conference on offense and the large Clover Belt Offensive Player of the Year. He was also second team All-Conference on defense, and he was also named Offensive Player of the Year on the All-Northwest team and was honorable mention All-State. In the winter, John was a 4-year letter winner on the Hornet wrestling team. His freshman year, wrestling at 112 pounds, John was 17-12 on the season. His sophomore year, John, wrestling at 120 pounds, was 22-13, finishing second at the regionals to qualify for the Division III sectionals. His junior year, wrestling at 135 pounds, John was 27-6 on the season. He was a regional champion and finished second at the sectional qualifying for the WIA Division III state tournament, where he would lose in the quarterfinals. His senior year, John was 34-6, wrestling at 145 pounds. He was color belt regional and sectional champion, qualifying for the WIA Division III state tournament, where he would make the finals, where he would be defeated by Josh Peterson of Cumberland 3-2. That year, Cadott was also a sectional team champion, and that year qualifying for the WIA team state tournament, where they were defeated by Coleman 33-15 in the semifinals. In the spring, John was a 3-year letter winner on the Cadott baseball team. His sophomore year, Cadott was 12-7, losing in the regionals to Fall Creek. John batted .265 with 4 RBIs. His junior year, Cadott was 14-8, and John batted .320 with 11 RBIs and was named second team All-Conference in the Western Clover Belt. His senior year, John was 14-6, and John batted .315 on the year with 15 RBIs and was named first team All-Conference in the Western Clover Belt. After graduation, John enrolled at UW-River Falls and joined the Falcon football program. His freshman year, the Falcons were 4-5. John carried the ball 28 times for 180 yards. His sophomore year, the Falcons were 3-7. John carried the ball 188 times for 1,114 yards and 11 touchdowns, and caught 11 passes for 166 yards and 1 touchdown. He was named first team All-WIAC. His junior year, the Falcons were 2-7. John carried the ball 141 times for 1,056 yards and 13 touchdowns, and caught 9 passes for 144 yards and a touchdown. He again was first team All-WIAC and second team All-Region. His senior year, the Falcons were 3-7. John carried the ball 180 times for 1,143 yards and 11 touchdowns, and caught 9 passes for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was first team All-WIAC and second team All-Region. For his career at River Falls, John ranks third all-time in rushing with 3,420 yards, third all-time in touchdowns with 40, and he ranks first all-time in all-purpose yards with 5,429 yards. John graduated from UW-River Falls in 2006 with an agricultural engineer's degree. In 2021, John was elected to the UW-River Falls Athletic Hall of Fame. Today, John is employed by the Village of Edgar's Public Work Department. In his free time, he is also a member of head coach Jerry Sins's coaching staff on the Edgar football team. John resides in the city of Edgar. John Petterlich, John.
Oh, yeah. I remember him.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a good athlete.
Good all-around athlete.
I didn't know he played baseball. I guess I didn't really follow Cadott in the West.
Yeah,
there,
you lose track of that, and Cadott was a pretty strong baseball team.
Yeah.
But
I remember him in football and wrestling.
What a heck of a run. He probably had his choice of what he wanted to do in college, too.
Yeah, right.
But
Did he wrestle in college?
No. By then, River Falls had dropped their wrestling program.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah, they dropped their wrestling program probably in the early 90s. Which was too bad. They had a really nice, rich heritage at one time, you know, but...
Yeah, okay. Where are they now? John Petterlich.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were going to do a wrestler on your Where Are They Now.
Oh, okay.
But Trajan Bogdanovich.
Okay.
Trajan Bogdanovich does a podcast called Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage.
Yeah.
And he talked with former Marshfield High School standout wrestler Nolan Hertel, who now wrestles at UW-La Crosse. Yeah. And it's not the full podcast. You can get that if you want to go to and find it wherever you get your podcast, Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. But I kind of edited a little bit as he talks with Nolan Hertel, former Marshfield wrestler, now wrestling at UW-La Crosse.
Last season, he was a NCAA Division III All-American, finished with a 36-2 record at 157 pounds, recorded 7 wins by fall, won the NCAA Division III title with a 4-0 record. I could go on and on. I can give you all the stats all day long here. But let's just meet the man himself. How are we doing today, Nolan?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure to have you on today. Coming in here, I just want to know a little bit about you. Can you just introduce yourself to us a little bit? Tell us a little about you.
Yeah, for sure. So again, my name's Nolan Hertel. I grew up in the great big city of Chile, Wisconsin. Um, Unincorporated for sure. But yeah, so I grew up, went to Marshfield High School. um, Decided to take my wrestling journey to UW-La Crosse. Found a great home. Um, and kind of found my way into the recreation management program for school. So I finished that up this summer, and now I'm in the master's program for recreation management. Um, I enjoy, being outside hunting. I do a lot of bow hunting down here, fishing. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. And how did you come to choose UWL? Were other colleges interested in you coming out of high school, or were you looking any other places? Tell me a little bit about the process for you.
Yeah, so there was definitely a lot of the YX schools, Eau Claire, Oshkosh, Whitewater, schools like that. Um, but I had my older brother, Mitch, here at La Crosse. He was also on the wrestling team. And he's 4 years older than me, so it didn't work out in high school where we were on the same team at all. So he was a senior when I was an eighth grader, so we never got to wrestle. And then he decided to take a fifth year here at La Crosse. So then it worked out that we could be on the same team. That was by far my favorite year. But then also just knowing the coaches and having that personal family relationship with them. And then another thing was just the La Crosse area is gorgeous, and there's tons to do. You're 5 minutes from downtown. You're 5 minutes from the woods. Really, the possibilities are endless in La Crosse.
Heading into this season, I heard that you were ranked number one overall in D3 at 157 pounds. That's an impressive feat. That is impressive to come into the season being number one overall. What does that mean to you coming in there as the number one overall wrestler at that
I think a lot of people, when they see that number one, like that preseason ranking, it almost feels like a target is on their back. I tend to think of it that I'm not being hunted, but I'm still a hunter. It's last year's over, and this is a brand new year, and I still have to prove that I'm that top guy, and it almost drives you a little more just to prove that you're still on top. So
Okay. And is there anyone that you're kind of having an eye out for right now, in that weight class, that one guy that you're like anticipating for that match that could be that big match for you?
I wouldn't say necessarily one guy in specific. I trained to beat everyone at my weight class, but obviously the returning All-Americans that are coming back at my weight, those are guys that are going to be up there again. But yeah, I'm not really focusing on one guy in specific. Kind of take it one match at a time. The next match is obviously the most important match. So kind of just keeping that mentality kind of keeps me grounded, I'd say.
Okay, definitely, yeah. And what advice would you give to someone who is looking to not just advance as a wrestler, but just as a collegiate athlete, getting to that next level? What advice would you give to somebody who's trying to move in their career?
Yeah, I would say that if you really want to compete at that next level, just know that it's going to be tough to try and be on top at your sport or your craft. But again, I just go back to working hard and not not taking things for granted. Really, just kind of putting your nose down. You're gonna go through some bad days, some hard days, but I think if you really want to experience what it's like to be a student athlete, it's a great feeling to be able to wear that wrestling logo on my chest walking through campus. But it comes with some responsibilities and getting your work done and always being on top of your game. So I think just being accountable and being responsible and and having a good work ethic's gonna make you succeed pretty well, I think.
All right, that's Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage as he talked with Nolan Hertel. And I tell you, there's another guy that has got a focus on him. That,
he wasn't a 3-time state champion or anything like that. I think he went to state 3 times, placed every year. So he doesn't get attracted to the, but he has really went down to La Crosse and made a name for himself under a good program. Of course, coming out of Marshfield, Ross Needham is an assistant coach who hails from Marshfield originally, and he sees guys like that, and of course, it just makes it go.
This year, top rank, 157.
Yeah, his first match of the year, he beat the number 1 ranked wrestler.
Wow.
And you can take preseason rankings for what you want,
right.
But he's going to hold on. He's got a possibility of being a national champion. So.
Yeah, and he said in there, it's not that being that highly ranked that he has a target on his back.
No.
It kind of just motivates him more.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
which is good.
That's a special kid who uses that. So
you bet.
So.
All right, moving on to the Wisconsin Badger men's basketball team got their Big Ten season underway and beat Michigan State. And after that win over Marquette, now they're in the top 25.
Number 23. And we'll see what they're made of Saturday. I said, number 1 Arizona, they're going out there, but they got nothing to lose out there.
I wouldn't want to be number 1 anymore.
No, absolutely. I just the way things are. It used to be when we were young, Larry. Number 1 stayed there.
Yeah.
Now number 1 is lucky if it makes the end of the first week that rated. It's just and I said, and I have no problem with their tradition, but. Rushing the court in an early season game, and I realized Marquette was number 3, and it was Marquette, it's just I just think rushing the court is not something that's not great.
Well, we were talking on the way back from Greenwood the other night, the girls' game, and I said I wouldn't even want to be number 1. Can you actually turn it down and say I want to be number 2?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I'll tell you what, college basketball that puts a really big target on you.
It does,
and especially usually the number 1s have a lot of young one and dones and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they get into, like their conference schedule, and a lot of those teams have 3- and 4-year guys, and those young guys, it's still hard to play on the road. I don't care how good they are, so it's.
Yeah, and Wisconsin is one of those teams that hangs on to players for a long time.
Yes, absolutely. That started was a big thing back with Dick Bennett, even, and then Bo Ryan just kind of grew the tradition, and, and of course, Greg Gard was under both of them at one time, so it's...
Yeah, you don't have like the Dukes and all them that North Carolina's where they have freshmen that leave.
You're not going to sign that kind of kid at Wisconsin. I think part of it is probably the academic requirements for one thing. But they find a guy like Frank Kaminsky years ago, and this is a good example. He comes in totally unheralded, and I mean he was from the Chicago area, and nobody heard of him, and he came to Wisconsin, and it took him a year or two, but when he became the best big man in basketball in his last 2 years.
So on the NBA.
Yep.
Don't know what he's doing right now, but
I'm not sure if he's still in there or not. So he was on Phoenix's roster last year. So
well. You never know, but they got their hands full on Saturday when they travel to Arizona, number 1 ranked team.
I believe that game is on ESPN Saturday. I believe.
Oh, I didn't see a time as to when that was on.
I didn't see the time, but I believe it's on ESPN. So.
All right, the Bucks are involved in the in-season tournament. Now they made it all the way to the semifinals.
Yeah, they looked good Tuesday night. They
went off on a scoring binge.
Wow, the 3-pointers, they could not miss a 3-pointer Tuesday night.
I think it was 60%.
Yes, just unbelievable. And I said right at the end somebody missed Robin Lopez missed one at the end.
Well, you don't get much playing time.
Yeah, but I said even the reserves were coming up. The guys who didn't play a lot were coming off the bench and draining them,
Wow.
I said you look at that, the semifinals in that in-season tournament, of those 4, Milwaukee's about the only team you expected to be there.
Yeah.
You got L.A., the Lakers, and then New Orleans, and then Indiana. I said, where's the Bostons? Where's the Denvers? Those kind of teams. But
they all
it's a one-and-done thing.
Right,
And that's probably why they play best of 7 in the playoffs.
Yeah, right, yeah. So the Bucks take on Indiana. Both games tonight are in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And actually, the Bucks game is at 4 o'clock
yes.
on ESPN.
Yep.
And then the Lakers in New Orleans is at 8, but that one's on TNT.
Yep.
So they got 2 different networks covering the games in the same spot.
And then the championship game, I believe, that's this weekend too.
It's on Saturday.
Saturday, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Did not see a time on that.
No, I didn't either. So,
but that'll be in Las Vegas as well. And the Bucks right now are 15-6. And they've won 10 out of 12.
Yeah, they're playing well.
Yeah.
You know, they've really got a good flow going. With Lillard has really fit in pretty quickly, a lot quicker than I thought he would, Larry.
Yeah, and I think the other guys have kind of
Yeah.
found their
Yeah.
roles.
And Brooke Lopez is playing at a tremendously high level, and it seems like Middleton is really coming around also.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if they get Crowder back healthy, and you know
Beasley is
yeah,
playing well.
Yeah, you know, I think the sky is the limit this year. We'll see.
I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, so
I think you're right.
I think we said that last year too. Though.
Packers got a big win. I was really surprised at that.
You know,
one
I
on
said
Sunday.
I think the whole world was shocked, Larry, but I said kudos to them. I said their offense was just clicking. Those
Yeah.
first drives were just beauties.
Yeah.
You know, and I would imagine they're probably a lot of script, but just everything worked. And I really like the way they're running that offense. They're getting the ball into their playmakers' hands. And Jordan Love, the last 4 or 5 games, has just looked confident, and he's doing the right things. Of course, he's getting rid of the ball if he has to. He's not throwing it in the crowds for the most part. Just when he has to use his legs, he's doing it. But his throws are very accurate
Yeah.
too. So,
Yeah, they're right on.
Yeah,
They were the other night,
yeah,
at least.
Yeah, so
They got
he was the better quarterback on the field that
Yes,
night.
he was.
You know,
Yeah.
So
So the Packers now improved to 6-6,
Yep.
and now the rest of their schedule
it's
looks winnable.
Yeah, it is winnable. You start with the Giants Monday night, but you know, I told somebody yesterday, Larry. I said, your mentality has to change too. You are no longer the hunters. You are the hunted.
Yeah.
You have you talk about a target on your back. Now nobody's going to take Green Bay lightly now.
Right,
You know,
right.
so
But of course, it's the New York Giants.
New York Giants. Yeah. So
That doesn't hurt to come.
Yeah, but they keep getting healthier. Now if they can get Alexander and Stokes and these guys back in the defensive backfield, and hopefully Aaron Jones sometime.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, that would be just great if we could get him back, because he really, other than the first game of the season, he has not really been a big part of anything.
No, no, he hasn't.
You know, but thankfully, Dylan has run much better, and since the team has gotten better, Dylan has run the ball better, and then Patrick Taylor ripped off a couple of nice runs the other night also. So,
And that was against, not a bad defense for Kansas City.
that's all I heard in the pregame show. Kansas City's offense isn't what it was the other years, but their defense is carrying them. Number 4. Well,
It didn't look like a number 4 defense.
I said kudos to Matt LaFleur and
Yeah.
Adam Stenavich and the rest of the offensive coaches. They came up with a tremendous plan. Chris Jones, I think, had 1 sack. He was not a big factor.
No,
So,
no.
And they just played well. That's
Yeah.
all there's to it.
Yeah.
So
So at New York on Monday night,
Yeah.
again, you can see that on ABC. They actually got 2 Monday night games.
yeah,
again.
there's Tennessee at Miami and then Green Bay at New York that night. So
the
pretty
Tennessee,
interesting.
the Tennessee Miami games on ESPN and the
Yeah.
Packer games on ABC.
Yeah, they've never done that before. They played 2 games a night, but they played them back to back. So,
Right. Yeah.
but,
So there you go. That's coming up
I-
on Monday.
Yeah, a couple of nice matchups on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
First, that should offset tonight's snoozer.
Oh, New England at Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh,
Wow.
yeah.
I'm glad that's on Prime Video.
Yeah,
I won't have to see it.
I don't think anybody can have any new enlistees on that
No,
one.
no.
But anyway, Seattle at San Francisco Sunday. I think that's going to be a good ball game. And then Sunday night, Philadelphia at Dallas. That should be a dandy on NBC. That should be a dandy.
Was that one flexed? I don't think it was.
I don't think so either. I think that was
The following weekend,
You
they
know,
flexed them.
quite honestly, I have not heard of much flexing this year.
I think they did next week.
Okay.
They put 3 games on Saturday.
Yeah. Okay.
All on the NFL Network.
Okay.
They flexed them from Sunday to Saturday.
Okay. I just think it's funny. I said I figured all these Packer primetime games were going to get flexed the way they're going, and now
now they want to see them.
Now they're the toast of the town.
Right.
So,
Yeah. All right. Really nothing else to kind of. Well, I guess what was I looking at? Buffalo, Kansas City.
Yeah,
game.
that
For
could-
Buffalo, that's going to be a big game for them.
Yeah, because they're getting where they're
Could be out if they lose.
Yep. Miami's pretty well sitting pretty good on that in that division, and Jacksonville and Cleveland, that could be good too, because you might not have Trevor Lawrence playing.
Right.
So that could be decent too. And the Rams of Baltimore could be a good one too. So who knows?
Yeah.
So,
You never know.
Yeah,
Look at the Packers and
nobody
Kansas
thought
City.
that was going to be good. So
No.
I just everybody on the pregame show picked the Chiefs.
Yep, everybody.
Yep. So
I think I would have too, probably.
I would too. I picked them on my predictions
Yeah.
too. So
All right. What else we got going on here?
college football, we got the playoffs set. and it'll be Michigan and Alabama, 1 versus 4 in the playoffs, and then number 2 Washington and number 3 Texas in the other game. And I think the whole world is sick of talking about Florida State, so we won't talk much.
We won't
about
talk about it.
But there is one game Saturday that I love watching.
Oh, yes.
Army Navy.
That's right. Yeah. And this year it's in Foxborough, I believe.
Yeah, Foxborough.
Yeah.
Yep. So
They try to make it a different spot.
yeah, they've Philadelphia has been a commonplace. Baltimore. I remember one year being out in the Rose Bowl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is a
Oh,
few
wow.
years ago, but they try. It pretty much been out east.
East, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but we were talking a little bit about the that 4-team playoff.
Yeah.
And Michigan Alabama winner may be the one that goes on.
I
to win
think
it
so
all.
too. I agree with that too. I'm not putting out Washington or Texas because I think they've had great seasons, but I think Michigan and Alabama are playing the best football of anybody right now. Alabama really played their way into that tournament. So,
Yeah.
So
And the Badgers surprising draw in the ReliaQuest Bowl on January 1st.
I'm surprised they
With
got
a 7-5 record.
Yeah, but I think one thing that is always in the Badgers' favor is how the Badger fans travel.
Yeah.
I think that is a big part of it. Their band is a big part of it, but they do sell tickets, and especially when you talk about going to a place like Tampa where it's warm. I mean,
And it's always money.
yeah, money,
Money is the thing.
money. That's why there's 44 bowl games, Larry.
Yes, indeed, yes. But they're going to take on one of the Heisman candidates.
Yeah, and a lot of people think he is the man too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
I've never seen him play yet.
I have not seen him play, but boy, I'll tell you what, Bo Nix out at Oregon has had a great year, and
Penix
too. And quite honestly, and I don't think he'll win it. I believe the best college football player is Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I honestly do, Larry, but I don't think a receiver can win it in this day and age.
No.
So.
He's got to have somebody to throw it to him.
Yeah, right. And his is leaving. The
Right,
guy,
yeah,
his is transferring.
Entering the portal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Interesting there as well. How about Jim Leyland got inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame?
That was long overdue, Larry. That I think, here was a guy had a great career at Pittsburgh, also at Detroit he managed. But I always go back to Gary Varsho. I always say it because Gary Varsho, Jim Leyland, I believe, was one of his managers. He wasn't his first, but he said Jim Leyland was the smartest baseball man he ever met.
Really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
And Gary Varsho was a bench coach for him a couple places too.
Okay.
But he said I remember Gary Varsho saying that Jim Leland was the smartest man in baseball.
Yeah, he got one World Series title in his managing career with
We Are
the
Family.
then Miami Marlins.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Miami too. Yeah. But yeah,
I think he only got one.
Yeah, he didn't have any with Pittsburgh. That's
don't
right.
think so, no.
No, because he had the Barry Bonds teams.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
Yep, that was his early career.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's right. Yeah. I forgot about the Miami part. Yeah, but
That was the only one he had.
Yeah.
But,
Craig Counsell scored the winning run, I believe, in that.
I believe you're right. Yes, in that game. Tuesday, January 23rd is when the Baseball Writers of America Hall of Fame class will be announced. And anyone that's voted in there will join Leland on July 21st. in
Yeah, I
Cooperstown.
haven't heard any slam dunks this year for.
There's a lot of names on the list,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, there's been this one. Yeah, it just doesn't seem like there's any real. See, every once in a while you have that guy that's. He's going to be in there, but haven't heard any big names this year. So, speaking of baseball, Brewers did sign Jackson Chourio to $82 million over eight seasons. So, and I guess with incentives it could even be more than that. So. But
that's the highest ever paid to a guy that doesn't have any major league experience.
So guess what? He's expected to break camp with the team this year.
Yeah, he's on the roster.
But I'll tell you what, do they ever have a glut of outfielders now? You talk about Chourio, but you also have Sal Frelick, Joey Weimer, Garrett Mitchell, Blake Perkins, Christian Yelich, Tyrone Taylor. My guess, Joey Weimer will be in the minors because I think he needs more seasoning in the minors.
Where does Chourio play?
I believe he's an outfield. I don't know which position.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know which position in the outfield.
I'm not sure. But,
probably anywhere, maybe.
Yeah, probably anywhere. But of that group, I think you'd want Mitchell in center field if he's healthy.
Okay.
That's
and they're young. I mean, outside of Yelich.
Yeah, Yelich. Yeah, they're all young. Taylor's not very old either. So, but And then Brewers re-signed Wade Miley.
I did see that. Yeah.
You know, so that's great because there is a pot. You know, if they keep Burns and then you got Paul, there's your number 3 right there.
Yeah.
And he is going to give you 6 to 7 innings, quality innings every time out.
Well, and
So
that's all you need.
that's
when
all
you're
you
a
need.
starter nowadays.
Yeah, because you got a bullpen. You know, so. But and they also signed Joe Ross, who was a starter in the past in Washington. He was a starter when they won that championship in 2019. So
okay.
He's been hurt, but they think they got a chance. They might have signed a sleeper there. So
Okay. Well, you never know.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Baseball's
those
only
guys-
2 months away. So
Right. Speaking of baseball, ESPN reported earlier in the week a 1914 Baltimore News Babe Ruth rookie card sold for $7.2 million.
wow. Is that the highest amount ever?
Nope. The highest was a 52 Topps Mickey Mantle card, which sold for $12.6 million.
Okay. And that's interesting because that really wasn't. Well, that was Mickey Mantle's first full season. 51, but he was a rookie in 51, but he might not have had enough at bats to, he
Right.
might have been a
Yeah.
rookie in 52. So,
But somebody was saying, where would you find a 1914?
Yeah.
How would you hang on to a card like that?
I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to be in good shape, otherwise they don't.
You know, I've
use
seen
those.
stories of cards that they did have cards like that. You know, not like the Topps cards or
Right,
anything
right,
with,
no.
with the stats on the back,
No.
but just like a plain photograph. And,
Yeah.
You know, so
and some of them weren't even photographs.
yeah,
some were
I've
just
s-
like
yeah.
paintings
There
of
was
them.
a story of a play in Defiance, Ohio. The guy, this family, their grandpa was a butcher, and he gave away these cards as incentives. You know, and they found them in the attic, and it was like premium Hannes Wagner, Ty Cobb, that kind of
geez.
stuff. You know, I think by the time they sold, everything was like $20 million worth of cards. You know, I guarantee you, that's not in my attic.
I got a card collection, but it ain't $20 million.
I said, the biggest problem I always have with cards is not keeping them, in good condition.
Right, yeah,
You know, that's
yeah.
the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And mint, that card for mint, which is a 10 on a scoring, has got to be absolutely perfect. Absolutely
Basically, almost unopened.
perfect. Unopened, basically.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you almost can't even touch it hardly.
Yeah, and you go into some of these card shops, these guys don't want you touching them either.
Right.
Because
And they got card protectors on them now. A lot
absolutely.
Of them do.
Yeah, it's big, but these card shows are just tremendous, and these auctions are just unbelievable.
I think I went through one time. Kevin here at the station used to have a book that you could go through and see how much your cards are worth.
Yeah.
I have a Ricky Henderson rookie card, and that was the highest priced card I had. It was $35.
Yeah.
But what I understand is back then they made more cards
Right.
than they do now.
Yeah. Now
They only make a certain amount of them. So
Yeah.
if you can get your hands on them, it's
Yeah.
more valuable.
and the card craze didn't really start till the mid '80s.
Yeah.
They said the first real card was when Don Mattingly was a rookie. That was one of the highest rookie cards at the time. So and that was the mid '80s. So who knows? So
Yeah, most of mine are from the 70s.
yeah, and
When
most of mine are
collected them.
trash. So
All right, anything else?
nope, just
Go over.
looking forward to going up to Greenwood tonight.
Yep, Greenwood and Neilsville tonight, 92.7 WPKG to get the Cloverbell Conference season started. Game time is 7:15 for that one tonight. That's Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
We'll talk to you again next week.